Let me go over his CV very briefly so that you can get to know him a little bit more. For Associate Professor Dr. Suriyadeo Tripathi, he's a pediatrician. He graduated medicine from Chulalongkorn University, pediatric training from Chulalongkorn University also, and a certificate in adolescent medicine from University of California, San Francisco, or UCSF. He is in the committee of No Smoking Foundation, the subcommittee of the National Reform Education System and Quality in Thailand, Executive Committee of National Narcotic Board of Thailand, and the subcommittee of the High Commissioner Senate Parliament. อาจารย์ Suriyadeo ครับ พร้อมไหมครับ
Yeah.
Ready?
Whenever you're ready. Good afternoon. Yes. Do you see me?
Yes, properly.
Oh, okay. Okay. Thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you for Asia Pacific Conference on Tobacco or Health, APACT, inviting me. But today I would like to talking about a little bit about not only sharing experience, past, present, future trend of tobacco, that is that the topic mentioned about, but I main focus on the e-cigarette. And the other point, what I also did the research, that is a big national research we did as a positive power for young people. What is the reason, how this kind of motivation to become like a drug addiction, what's going on, comparing with those young people who in the juvenile detention center, according to the drug addiction, what we found about those kind of research we did. So I will talk about this kind of two topics. The first one, I would like to let all of you know about the e-cigarette. I think all of you know about it, but I just only would like to show a little bit more about why e-cigarette is really attractive and motivation in the young people, especially for the young people. Why I say contrary with comparing with the those companies who built up this kind of e-cigarette, that e-cigarette is not for stop smoking, but it is for start smoking. It is a new starter, not as a stop smoker. Next slide, please. This is the four reasons that is really motivation and attractive. Why addictive cycle in teenager? It is a new concept. The first reason is very easy to accessible. You know, in Thailand, we also found the new experience that even this is illegal, but you can find with the social media within minutes. I mean, maybe within 5 minutes, you know that why is the selling, how I can have it. It is very easy to accessible. The second reason is the build up fast track to addictive cycle, because they know that if for the new young people, the earlier they are addictive cycle, addiction to the addictive cycle, the more addiction they will be. It is really hard to quit from the drug dependence, really, really hard. And the fourth one is, you know, nicotine by the blood-brain barrier is also become like an implant in the genome. I will let you see the next slide. You will see that if you look at next slide, please. Hello, next slide.
Slide.
Okay. You will see in this picture. Could you please stop share and show my face? I will all of you really easy to understand. Stop it with a moment, please, and then come to this slide again. Stop share. Stop share this slide and then come to my face before. Could you please stop this share? Hello. Could you please stop? No. I'm not meaning. Just only to my face. I would like to let you know my. I will show by my hand. Yeah. Okay. Come to my face. stop share and come to my face. You see me? All everyone, you see me? Okay. You see my hand here. If you fold this finger, big thumb like this, and folding these 4 fingers, it looks like a brain, cross section of brain. This big thumb is like a limbic system. And these 4 fingers is like a forebrain. It is a cognitive control. If you look at the slide is also showing here that cognitive control. These 4 fingers is like a cognitive control. It is a prefrontal cortex. It will very easily to understand about the brain function. But here is the big thumb, and big thumb is a limbic system. Why addiction cycle in adolescent brain is really attractive, really easy, because you will see in the slide that mostly of the young people, when they have hormonal imbalance, such as they have testosterone, estrogen in female, testosterone in male, they become hypersensitive of limbic system, hypersensitive, very hypersensitive. I mean, if they have not more power up about the cognitive control, they can also burn out about their emotion. You will see that mostly of the young people, why they have not emotional control. So this slide also show about that. What about the nicotine? Nicotine will be built up, it will be also release a lot more dopamine. It will very high level of dopamine. Whenever you have an addiction cycle for nicotine, it will be very high level of the dopamine. And this dopamine effect also be press the cognitive control. So these 2 reasons is really attractive and really motivation in adolescent brain. It will very easy for them to addiction cycle as a rewarding cycle, this limbic system, because it is very hypersensitive. And the other reason is also nicotine. Nicotine when any young people smoke the e-cigarette or might be cigarette, nicotine come to their lung and also in their blood, and it will be take only 10 seconds, build up this high level of the dopamine and go to the brain. And also they will praise the cognitive control. So this slide is also show how it is very easy for addiction cycle, especially for the young people. Next slide, please. Next slide.
Slide.
Okay, so this is the nicotine abuse in teenager and become addiction cycle. You will see that with the most attractive motivation for newcomers, especially in teenager. That is the reason. And misleading concept for quit from smoking. You will ever heard about that mostly of the adult, they are misleading that, oh, e-cigarette is one of the tools that anyone who would like to quit from smoking, they can use also e-cigarette. But you know, in contrast, all the teenagers become the newcomers. And this is very easier. Why I say that? Next slide also show about that. Please go to next slide. You will see that how attractive about some of the e-pens, e-hookah pens you will see in the cherry, chocolate, vanilla, bubble gums. It's a lot of tasty and preference. It is good preference. I mean, mostly of the young people, they would like to try about. Go to next slide, please. And here is also, you can also listen to song. I mean, very positive psychology. They use the positive psychology, positive motivation. Listen to the music while you are smoking about the e-cigarette. You can also relax, become relaxed, and also listen to the music. And you can also, you know, the new generation about this kind of e-cigarette. You can also become like a telephone. You can also this is you can increase the volume. You can also like a Bluetooth inside. All these kind of e-cigarette become not for quit for smoking. It is a start for smoking and become more addictive for the nicotine. So that is the reason. And you next slide, please. You will see that the other point. This is also one of the technique. I mean the technique crowd contest in teenager. You know that almost all the young people, they love about the how peer pressure. You ever heard about the peer pressure? And if they all this kind of contest, they love about it. And they also know that this kind of crowd contest not harmful for the other person that is beside, but that is also misleading about the understanding. US FDA even approved about the this cloud contest that can ingestion, but it cannot be inhalation. Inhalation is also toxic for the lung. What cloud contest is also one of the attractive point, and most teenagers love about it. Next slide, please. And here is the graph I will show about the trend in past 30 days of e-cigarette use in this slide is also showing the United States middle and high school students. You will see that how becomes rising about the in all students and also comparing with the middle and high school students rising. So next slide. Here is also the fourth reason that I mentioned about is it implant in the gene. I mean epigenome. If you look at this slide, also show about that anyone who become like it, tobacco and nicotine drug addiction, their gene become like a methylation, DNA methylation. And this also be generation to generation, transport generation to generation, become like a gene predisposition for next generation, such as if you have kids, if you have in the next near, in the future, that is also become like a gene predisposition. If you not understand about the gene predisposition, I will let example about the, you will ever heard about the diabetes mellitus, DM, diabetes mellitus. Some of the family, their kids, even they are obese, but not become DM because they have not gene predisposition. But those who have gene predisposition, even they are thin, not obese, but if they eat a lot of sugar, they might become DM, prevalence of the DM. So this kind of gene predisposition, generation to generation. Next slide, please. This is also show about how they can implant in the genome and become like a epigenome. So these four reasons I'm talking about the e-cigarette is really attractive, and they all the company that built up the e-cigarette, they would like all the young people to be like a new starter, not a stop smoker, like a new starter, and become very easily to addiction. After this, go to next slide, please. I'm not sure about. Before I'm talking about the life as a positive power, and what I did research in the juvenile detention, the whole country in Thailand, what I found about comparing about those who have drug addiction and those who have not in the general school. Before that, I would like to show about one of my video presentation talking about the life asset. That is one of the positive power model monitoring tools. Let all of you see about those this video, please. Yes.
Children and Youth Health Program under Thai Health Promotion Foundation, National Institute for Child and Family Development, Mahidol University, the Girl Guide Association of Thailand, under the patronage of Her Majesty the Queen, Queen Surrogate National Institute of Child Health, and other child watch associations, had developed the process of Life's Assets Reinforcement, according to the pioneer of the project, Dr. Suriyadeo Tripathi, the manager of Children and Youth Health Program and the director of National Institute for Child and Family Development, Mahidol University. He launched the idea of a positive model, which is similarly like a mirror of a coin that reflects the root of children and youth problem. The program is to strengthen the immunity for the children as fulfilling their life's assets for both physically and mentally well-being in the society. There are several challenging turning points for strengthening community's basis. Thailand still needs the real devotees who can dedicate time for children in the community. However, it can be fulfilled by using 3 step ladders. First, creating a creative activity for sharing in the community has to be occurred. While the volunteers are still unsure about how to conquer the problem of children and youth by just creating some activities, the second ladder's step will lead to the interactive learning process. Thus, all officers in each site are required to be well instructed in each area children's characteristics. Whenever the unsung heroes of the team become discouraged, the third step ladder, the community's babysitting system, will be activated. This step will depict the frame of brainstorm networking. Finally, we might see the real administrators and the effective consultants, and it should be applied to all communities throughout the country.
According to life asset positive approach, every kid will grow with strong power of social immunity system. The more assets they have, the more value they will be. Every kid with rich of assets, when they grow to school age, they will have peaceful mind, stress management, willing to help other people, and when they grow to adolescent, they will learn to be a leader, civic mind, social mind, and learn to set up goal direction of their own life. And when they are adults, they will have good skill to rearing their kids generation to generation. So life asset positive approach is the program not only main strength of community for children and youth, but also be the program to build up and strengthen the social immunity to the future of Thailand. Thank you so much. Come to slide again. I will talk about why I talk about the life asset, because I did one kind of research many years ago. It's one of the research is really nationally. I mean, this kind of research we did in the juvenile detention center, not only one province, I mean the whole country. I think maybe 23 provinces that is gathering together, and those people who are, next slide please, those people who are also in 14 to 18 years old in juvenile detention center, that is they arrested according to the selling drug, not only drug addiction, I mean they selling drug. I mean the young people, and they arrested and took in the juvenile detention center. We also did in research in 23 provinces, the half of the country, Thailand, comparing in the same provinces and same area in the general school. And what we found about, I will try to declare about the 4 must action policy statement that we also announced many years ago. What we talk about a career path, self-esteem, life skill, and have a good role model. And we did this kind of research. We also proved that art, music, exercise can be only creative activity. It is a good activities, but not for the drug addiction prevention program. This kind of activity is good, but not talking about the final solution for the prevention from the drug addiction. But the 4 must action is the policy statement. Next slide. I will show you what we do about this is the research methodology we use. We target population in the youth from general education system aging between 14 to 18 years old, living in the same area from the other group. The other group is also youth at risk from the juvenile detention center aging between 14. That's the same age in drug illegally retention area for youth in the same provinces here to the first one too. Next slide. And we also do the survey questionnaire in 23 provinces of Thailand. Each of the sample size, I will not talk a lot more about this kind of. Next slide, please. And what is the four must, what we found in this paper? That is really a p-value significant by the statistical significance. What we found about that, the first one is they talking about the must have good future with job and career path. When I study in the United States in San Francisco, what I'm also found that is one of the program that is really fantastic is Job Corp Center. In Treasure Island, I remember about in Treasure Island that is also Job Corp, that is a special track for the vocational training and alumni. So that kind of how we can build up this kind of good future with job and career path is the first must. They must have good future. And I will mention about we use the power of community to mobilize this kind of good future with job and career path. Next slide, please. The second must is the must have strong self to strengthening their self-esteem. How we use the power of self and power of peer with extracurricular volunteerism. I will let all of you know about why I mentioned about this kind of power after this. The second one is must have strong self. We use the power of self and power of peer to build up the strong self-esteem. Next slide. The third must, next slide. Yeah, the third must is build up skill for their life. I mean skill, it is not only life skill. It is like a skill for their life, including about the living skill, including about the life skill and literacy skill. And we use also again for the power of community to build up parenting school as a community learning organization to build up this skill for their life. Next slide. And the fourth must, they must have a good role model with parenting school, power of family, and power of wisdom. So this is the four must that we also a policy statement to prevention from drug for the Office of Narcotic Board of Thailand. Next slide. After this, I would talk about the life asset. What is the life asset? And it is a positive youth development. We do research, and nearly 10 years ago, we do like a positive power monitoring tools. It is the self-perception, what their perception about themselves, what their perception about their family, how their perception about their school, community, peers, with the surrounding. If you look at 5 finger again at my hand here, you will remember about this big thumb is like a limbic system, right? You know about. And these 4 fingers is like a prefrontal cortex. If you fold this big thumb like this, and also 4 fingers look like a brain, cross section of the brain. Again, this big thumb is like a power of self, and these 4 fingers is like an external. It is a microsystem environment that is really close by and very most influence for every young people, every kids. If you fold this big thumb like this and 4 finger, it's like a power of life asset. This power of life assets consisting of 5 main power. The first one is power of self. These 4 fingers like an external asset. It means power of family, power of wisdom, power of peer, power of community. Let's go to slide again. Go to slide again. Hello. Go to slide again. Yeah. Next slide. So this is how I built up this kind of life asset comes up. It's according to the main theory of the positive child and youth development program we know about in the worldwide. We mentioned about, and also next slide. Next slide is also show about the you know about the Jury-Baum-Fenbenner human bioecosystem. If you look at the human in the middle, if you this human become like a kids, the microsystem is the family, school, and community. This is the microsystem, and you will see the red color in the in among this kind of circle. It is like a digital subsystem. You will see that everyone right now, digital is really where most attractive influence. So this is like a red color, and it's also very attractive for the these all the arrow shown in the red color and blue color is like a meso system. We call the meso system. It is the reaction between system to system, such as family and school. If they have very good relationship together, I mean parents, school, parents and teacher connectedness, they're a really good system. It will be show also be a positive power. Community and school is also very good relationship together, build up like a community learning organization. It's also be a positive power influence too. And community and family, if they working together, is become like a parenting school and become more attractive and more powerful for the positive life asset too. It is also together with the digital subsystem, this kind of digital subsystem too. So these two theory we built up. The next slide, please. Next slide. We built up all these kind of brain, cognition, social, mindfulness. We built as a spiritual, cognitive, social, mixing together and become the positive power monitoring questionnaire we call life asset, which here in Thailand we call the life asset. Next slide. So life asset have three main philosophy. The first one, they will also show about the self-reflection. I mean, it is a young people heard, they will, if you would like to know about what their perception about their self, what their perception about their own ecosystem, you will see that is the first philosophy, self-reflection and self-perception. And the second one is also we main focus on the positive factor in their own life and also their bioecosystem, which we call micro and meso system, reaction between systems. And the third one is facilitate to build up more asset in good direction. We found that if any young people, they have the more asset they have, the more powerful they will be. I mean, they can rejection all kind. They will not in the juvenile detention center because they have positive power. They have strengthened their life, self-esteem. Let's go to the next slide. Next slide. So the key concept. No. Come to the yeah. Change mind, change manner. Change mind. If you change your mind, you can change manner right now. And with this one is the key concept we will produce about the first step to mindfulness. So life asset, all 48 questionnaire are positive reaction and interaction relationship between manner question in their own life. So, next slide, please. Change mind, change manner, turn negative to positive. Reflection their perception in their own life and their own immediate environment. What is the immediate environment? It is according to these four fingers: family, school, community, and their peer. You will hear their voice and you will know that how positive power they have, what is the weakest one, what is the strongest one, how it is also very relation about the drug abuse. What about the other kind of risky behavior? You will know all these kind of positive power by this life asset. Next slide. And the other key concept is also we use this kind of positive power questionnaire to be like a navigator and facilitate them to learn through play or creative activities. You remember about I mentioned about the art, music. Those can be only the creative activities. But if you would like to be a prevention program, strongly prevention program, you have to build up their self-esteem. You have to build up their career path. You have to format that I mentioned about the slide that I showed before. This will also provoke their cognitive brain ability too. So life asset or questionnaire is a life checklist of their own and social. Next slide. I will show you that life asset is a protective factor which include life skill, conscious mind of children and youth in their self and their surrounding that have influence in their living. It is including about the family, cognitive formation process, community and peers. Next slide. Life asset, by conclusion, it is a cognitive and mindfulness questionnaire. Next slide. Here I recall again, you will see that the big thumb is like a power of self. The other four fingers is like an environment, the immediate environment, which is consisting about the family, wisdom, peer, community. You may be one of you amazing that why I'm not called about the power of school, why we change it but to be a power of wisdom, because it is not only inside the school, outside the school, like a folk wisdom is also built up the wisdom too. So we change the name of the power of school to become like a power of wisdom. Okay, next slide. Next slide. Here is also by conclusion. We do also build up the life asset questionnaire, which consisting about the 5 main power with 48 indicators in society and culture. All the questions start with I for self-perception. I mean, they can also reply by themselves that what their perception about themselves, what their perception about their family, what their perception about their peer, community, and also inside and outside the school, which we call wisdom. And this Conbrack alpha coefficient is that is shown about. Okay, nearly 0.9. Okay, next slide. Yeah, here's some of the indicators that I showed to you that when we talk about the power of community, what is the indicator consisted? It's consisted about a positive role model of adult in community. Warm, they feel warm and safe when they come to their community, go to their community. Meaningful participation in community activity, volunteer activity, connectedness to the community, opportunity for the leisure. Next slide. Like a family, power of family, the indicator also consists about the love, caring, support, connectedness, positive family communication, positive discipline, role model, media literacy. Next slide. And power of school or power of wisdom is also talking about the connectedness inside the school, safety, role model, caring, support, positive discipline, academic performance, folk wisdom. This one is also outside the school. Folk wisdom learning, media literacy. So this is we call the power of school or might be power of wisdom. Okay, next slide. And the power of self, talking about the life skill, mindfulness, self-sufficiency, positive value, positive identity, social skill, and self-esteem. So this is the 5 main power in life asset. We did the research in juvenile detention many years ago, and we found that the 4 must become like a policy statement to build up the more strengthened to reject about the drug addiction. It is a policy statement too. We did in the other research too. Next slide. We did the other research. And here we I'm also published this kind of paper, validation of 4-factor analysis of a positive life asset scale in the journal. You can find about it. I will not talk a lot more about this. Let's go to the other slide. Here. The level of the life asset determined by percentage criteria, summation score. We do a lot of young people enroll in the study by mean to leveling the life asset. Nearly 100,000 of the sample size, and we found that any kind of indicator or any kind of the power, 100% if they become less than 60% become fail, it will be shown in the red color. If this if any kind of indicator or any kind of the power show about 60 to 70%, it will be shown in orange color. It's only fair. 70 to 80 is shown in the yellow color. It's like a good grade. And the highly excellent is green color, is higher than 80%. Let's go to the other paper that I also did the research, the whole country. Next slide. Here is the National Survey of Life Asset in Secondary School Student, the whole nation. It is 10 years ago. Sorry, I remember, I forget about in 2011, 10 years ago. Go to the next slide. No, next slide. Not previous. Next slide, please. No, next. Okay, that is the mapping life asset across the country. You will see that the whole country with coloring of the life asset, what they perception about that themselves. I mean the whole. I'm not did only in the one province. It is also the whole country. We did this kind of research in 10 years ago, and we found that luckily for Thailand, there is no any area to become like a red color in the young people, but unluckily also no green color here. Could you please remember about this mapping that mostly of the nationwide is orange color. It is like a fair in their perception, what their perception about themselves and their surrounding. Next slide. 5 years later, it is the same. I mean, this show like a bar chart comparing about the 5 main power. You will see that the most influencer one is the power of family. It is it is the best one. I mean, it is in the grade like a yellow color. I mean grade B. But all these 4 factors for power become a grade C. It is only a fair. The color should to be in orange color, not in yellow color. Sorry about that. Next slide. And here's also we go in the detail. What is the positive life asset in Thai teens? Talking about the community. How about the valuable role, volunteer activity? I will not go detail about this kind of, just only let all of you know that we use the positive life asset to put the positive power like a strategic national strategy to build up the strengthening of self-esteem. Next slide. 5 years later, we also did the other research is comparing about the young people in I mean teenager in basic education group, and the second group is we did also with Mahidol University, Sirat Hospital. We did in the most gifted and talented group. Mostly of the students here, they have the representative to get like a physics, chemistry, biological gold medal award in. I mean they have very talented group in scientific. And the third one is they out of school. I mean they drop out from the school, alternative education group, and mostly of the NGO pick up them and also rearing them and also build up the development that we call the alternative education group. So these 3 group people, we did how positive power they have. Next slide. You will see that the first column in green color is the national. Again, we did the national research again, one more time in 5 years later. And in the middle, you will see that this bar chart show in the gifted and talented group. And the last one bar chart also show about the dropout from the educational system and mostly of the NGO. Some of the students, they have no parents. I mean, they have also very poor, very difficult child, maybe learning disability, maybe autistic, delayed development. So mostly of them is also in this group. If you look at the last sentence, total life asset power, you will see that mostly of the value is really in the same. I mean, even they have some different about comparing with the national level, but mostly of them is in the same. We also have no statistical significance in these three groups. But amazing for that, if you look at the 5 power, you remember about that any kind of power is less than 60, it becomes red color. Here is red color here. I mean, in the power of community, reflect in the gifted and talented group. I circle here wrong one. It should be circled at the family power. If you look at the family power in the second column, you will see that more than 80%, it become green color. I mean, this paper also show that gifted and talented group, they have very poor of power of community and very strongest about the power of family. This is the reason why we also show the campaign about even they are very clever, even they have very highly academic performance, but they have no social immunization, especially for the power of community. That is this slide show about. Okay, next slide. Last couple of years ago, you see that here it is a spider wave comparing about 10 years experience in Thailand about the positive power. We in blue color is show about in 2010, and 2019 is shown in the orange color. You will see that the power of self, power of family, power of wisdom, power of peer, and power of community. The main focus, if you look at the power of community, that is different 10%. I mean, cross the spider wave. That is really amazing about this kind of data. The data show about different about 10%. And if you remember, any kind of indicator or might be the power is less than 60, it become red color. And this year, the whole nation, power of community become positive power become red color, the whole nation. If you remember, 10 years ago, the whole nation of Thailand show luckily that is no red color. It's only orange, the whole nation. But here you will see that couple of years ago, positive power, especially in the power of community, the whole nation also show about the red color. So this is we also would like to campaign about the for mass action policy statement and also build up the positive power, especially in the power of community, because we know the signal. This is the red signal. Next slide. Again, we also, this is the paper that is comparing the developmental asset. It is like a life asset, comparing the magnitude association between the demographic risk and asset depletion in ATOD. ATOD is meaning alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs. If you look at the first 3 sentences, you will see that living with single parents, low maternal education, low socioeconomic status. These 3 sentences talking about the ATO or the alcohol, tobacco, and other drugs. Risk factor is become from 1.3 to the maximum is 2 times. I mean, relatively risk. But the last one, low asset, low life asset, low developmental asset level, it showed that nearly 3 to 10 times that is risk factor for ATOD. So life asset is really important. Even they have in the high economic status, even their maternal education is very high, even they're living together, but they should focus on the life asset. So this is I would like to talk about this in the future trend. Next slide. Okay, I have one more VTR. Would like to summary about all of you know about the life asset a little bit more. Could you please open? Thank you. But I have one last slide. I would like to explain something new about I am, I have, I can. This one is really very easier to understand about the I am, I have, I can. I am is like a power of self. I have is mean four finger again. That is surrounding environment. It should to be like a good surrounding in good ecosystem. And I can go to the next slide. One more slide. One. Next slide. Next slide again. Next slide. Next. Yeah. Okay. This is the if you look at in the middle, if you use the life asset that I mentioned about, I'm already explained about how did this all the research we did. And become like a life asset. I am meaning like a power of self. I have is also surrounding, such as I have peer, good family, good school, and good community. I mean, not only the base one. It should be how we can also calculate that how many percentage. If you less than 60 is show the red signal. Between the 60 to 70 is become like an orange, and 70 to 80 is become a yellow, and more than 80% it will become green. And we will know that each kind of indicator, which one is the weakest one and which one is the strongest one. How we can build up the, that is poor power, such as if you look at the power of community is very poor, you can also build up what is the strategy, what about the creative activity we have to put things together. If you look at here, we're also talking about the stress, any kind of stress, injection the stress and turn from the negative to be a positive, become like I can. Use the creative activities, use those kind of the activities to build up negative to be like a positive. If you can use the I am, I have, like a navigator and build up I can, that is, you can also build up social immunity to all the young people. And these social immunity can prevention from drug addiction, because we cannot control right now in the new normal, in the digital world, you cannot also control everything, even advertisement, even social media, you cannot control. But if you look at the inner and let them become more strengthened about their inner, you can also prevention all of the program. You can also prevention all the young people avoid from the drug addiction and drug selling drug too. So we come to the previous slide, please. Previous slide. Yeah. So thank you for your attention. This one is acknowledged for the Ministry of Culture that I'm working as a director of the moral promotion, and thank you for your attention. If you would like any kind of question, and also you would like to material, I have a material, this kind of material. I can also let all of you have, even VTR, I can give to you if you would like interesting about. But thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Dr. Suriyadeo, for the wonderful presentation. And that was Associate Professor Dr. Suriyadeo Tripathi sharing the experience with us about the past and present and future trend of tobacco control in the media efficacy. Before we move on to the next speaker, any questions or things that you would like to share, your experience, and anything you want to share about the presentation? We have roughly about 10 minutes left. You can put it in the chat box, or if you're okay, you can turn on the microphone and ask, if you don't mind.
The life asset, the other point while waiting for the question, the life asset, I'm also translate this one in English version, including the questionnaire. If anyone would like to have it, such as interesting about, even VTR presentation I can give. Don't worry about it. Yeah.
And I believe that your email address is at the end of the presentation of the slides.
Oh, yes.
I saw some faces coming up. Is that for question? Dr. Oh, okay. We have the link for the feedback also. If you have any things you want to say, the feedback is always valuable to us. Satisfaction survey, it's going to be in the chat box. You probably have to scroll up a little bit, and we really want to hear from you. Any other questions? We have like 1 minute. Are we ready to go? Okay. ขอบคุณอาจารย์มากครับ Thank you so much, Dr. Suriyadeo Tripathi, for your presentation. We really hope to have you again next time. Thank you.
Thank you. สวัสดีครับ
สวัสดีครับอาจารย์ สวัสดีครับ. So the next presentation